everyone, welcome to Ch04. I'm Grandmaster Sopiko. Today we'll be looking at the examples of pin. We will see a lot of examples how to prepare the pin and make use of it. So let's get going. We will start with very interesting game, Capablanca Chahes, and we can see that the position is materially equal. But I think that white is doing much better because his pieces are placed better. The rook on e1 and the bishop on a3 somehow combines the attack through the e file and the knight on e7, and the knight on d3 is very good, controls many squares, and of course defends the f2 pawn. So Capablanca played bishop f3, closes the f file, attacks the pawn on h5, and opens up the e file for the rook. Very useful move. Rook h6 was played in the game. If h4, bishop g4, and we see that now Capablanca with bishop g4 uses our main topic, pin. So if black takes bishop g4, there is first rook e7, check, king d8, and after h takes g4, white is completely winning. Bishop g4, it is possible to play king d7, but after rook e6, we again see another example of the pin, knight e5, king d8, and bishop e6. White is piece up and winning. So after bishop g4, the strongest move is king f7. But white remains advantage after bishop e7, king e7, and rook e5. So let's see what happened in the game. Bishop f3 and rook h6. Cha has decided to defend the pawn on h5 with the rook, but after bishop h5, a simple tactic, we can see that the rook now is overloaded defending the h5 pawn and the bishop on e6 as well. So simple bishop h5, king d7, because after rook h5, rook e6, white is just pawn up and winning. So after king d7, bishop g4, again another motive of the pin. Now we see that bishop g4 is no good because of this same tactical move, not tactical move actually, just taking on e7, king d8, and after h takes g4, white is piece up. So after bishop g4, black plays knight c6, and Capablanca decided to use the pin again, and after rook e6, not to right away take the rook on e6, but use the pin and somehow gain the tempo. So with bishop c1, white is attacking the pawn on g5, and we see that the rook still cannot move because it is pinned. So after king d6, bishop e6, king e6, bishop g5, white is pawn up, and we see how strong the pawns are on king side because they don't have any opponents on that side. Bishop a5 was played in the game, bishop d2, king d5. It's not so easy to win the game because the king is pretty active in the center and there still are pieces, but Capablanca showed great talent as always and great technique. So after h4, knight e5, knight e5, king e5, just h5, c5 and g4. Black has to go king f6 because it is very difficult to stop the pawns otherwise. So king f6, king e2 and c4. Black tries to have counterattack on the queen side, but the pawns on king side are very strong. So after f4, king f7, king f3, bishop d8, somehow to stop white's pawns on king side, but of course there is no point because after king e4, a5, king d5, bishop e7 and g5, the pawns are unstoppable and Cha has made one more move, king g8, and after f5 he resigned because white's pawns are very strong on king side and black cannot do anything on queen side b4. There is no b4 because the c4 pawn is hanging. Now let's go to another example, and we have the game of Aliohin against Marshall. Again, we have equal position, materially equal position, but Aliohin here showed a great technique. The king is better, white's king is better than the king on d8 because this one it's just disturbing black's rook to come out in the play. But if black has one more move to play king d7, rook e8, then the position will be completely equal. So white has to do something. Rook g4 was played in the game. After, for example, rook h4, h6, rook g4 and g5, white might think that there is a move h4 because gh4 is no good because of rook g8, and we see that somehow the pawn on g5 is pinned, but after f6 white does not have anything special because g5 pawn is completely protected. There was one more active move, knight g5. Double attack on the pawns, but this is no good because black is not protecting any of those pawns and just playing king d7. Here white has a choice to play either knight f7, either knight h7. Knight f7 simply runs into rook f8 and rook f4 is no good because now we see that the rook is the knight is pinned on f7, as after king e7 there is no move knight g5 or knight e5 because the rook is hanging on f4. But what happens on knight h7? Rook h8. The same. If knight goes to g5, then there is rook h2. So we see here the pin again, and after rook h4, king d6, king c3, f6, rook h3, just knight d8. And we see that the knight on h7 is pretty stuck. The rook is protected on h3, but there is no use because the knight on h7 is simply very bad and it cannot move. So rook g4, g6, rook h4, and h5. I see why Aliohin did the rook g4 and then rook h4 to provoke g6 and h5. And I hope that you can see too what can be the move here. I hope you solved it. And of course, it is g4. We see the same idea, that the pawn on h5 is pinned and hg4 is not good because of rook h8 and white wins the rook, and otherwise black cannot protect the h5 pawn and is simply losing it. I don't want to prolong this video, so see you soon in part 2. Thank you for watching.